This is me. Hi, I'm Lou. I'm just a normal guy who does normal things, except for a curse. It's easy to blame the curse, harder to remember when it started. Maybe it was always here, waiting. They said it was stress or trauma, maybe both, but no one warned me about the part where your reflection stops being yours. I told them how it started. I used to joke that our family was haunted just by the tragedy of it all. I didn't mention each cold spot, the sounds within the walls, or the dreams. Some stories are so relatable that everyone can get a sense of some sort of inner truth. It would never be about forcing belief or getting proof. If grief can permeate a place, if love can fill us like water, then maybe we really can talk to ghosts. The dead can't always use plain language, but that's why paranormal investigation is so unique.
Okay.
You're rolling.
I'm Shala from the Paranorthwest.
And I'm Shiann. And we're here to prove curses are real with a person that we met on Instagram.
Come on, man!
Hey, I'm Mike from the Paranormal Road Trippers, and I've been invited to a cabin in the woods with Lou. And behind me, ruining my shot, is the Paranorthwest, as per usual, because it should be about me. But this time, I'm going to be behind cameras, helping Lou tell her story of family curses, lore, and everything paranormal. And look who's just rolling up, late as usual.
Hey
Hey!
Hey!
What up,
VIP!
Lou?
I brought the lake water.
Yeah, what's up with the lake?
Yeah, what do we need lake water for?
Okay, so this lake, Fernon Lake in Idaho, is where Rick crashed his car and died in the lake.
Shit, okay.
And then this is from the lake here yonder. And I grew up at this lake, and so, like, my family's probably
And what's this one called?
Deer Lake.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, my family's probably, like, spiritually connected to this stuff, so I had to go fetch some. And we have 2 jars of water to fiddle with during our investigation. See if it's charged with any energy.
One thing I found kind of interesting was, I know we've talked a lot about what you want to talk about with this,
Yeah.
but you left Shala the envelope with the crime report.
Yeah.
What is this?
So that's the crime report.
Like the actual...
Yeah, the Coeur d'Alene Police Department statement, all of the documents that are publicly available for the murder of my grandmother. And she died in 1972. She was Rick's mother, passed away at 21. He saw the whole thing. He's the one who died at Fernon Lake. This jar. It's just a super weird retelling of events, and it's kind of the only thing that really exists of her life, and it's her death that's captured.
Right.
Because when I ask my family, there's not a whole lot of stories to be told. She was so young when she died. Mm-hmm. So what's here is actually really creepy. And like this part is chilling.
Okay.
On December 26, 1972, approximately 7:15 p.m., it's redacted, was called to Lieutenant Shower's office. Lieutenant Shower had been interviewing the murderer. On entering, the murderer had head down on desk, crying and stating, "I don't know why I did it." This is the day after Christmas. My dad's 4th Christmas.
Wow.
And he was there. Actually, what's even freakier is her workplace called the house, and Ricky answered. And he was like, "I don't know what's happening. My mom is sleeping. She won't wake up."
He was 4 years old?
4 years old. And this man broke into her house, sexually assaulted her, and murdered her in cold blood. And his wife was the one who caught him because there was some bloody t-shirts in the laundry.
Did they know each other previous?
I would have to inspect this a little closer. I don't believe so, but one could say he was at least stalking her because he broke into her house and she obviously did not want him there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't break into somebody's house if you aren't trying to do something creepy.
Fair.
It's actually even scarier that they're strangers.
Yeah.
That's,
You know what I mean?
it's a nightmare.
She worked at the Coeur d'Alene Yacht Club, so it was the yacht club. She was a receptionist. And they called because they were like, why isn't she showing up to work?
Yeah.
It's serious because it's sadly kind of average. It's a very tall tale of what happens to women when men are violent and misogynistic and want their way. And it's tragic because the story that gets told about her and my family is this one. So I can't say, I have pictures of her, but I can't say anything definitive about who she was. And she looks kind of like me, which is kind of creepy. Like if I were a 70s mom, like,
Yeah.
you know, same nose. It's creepy.
Now, yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
You brought us, we're here at this cabin.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
We got some paranormal testing to do.
Okay. Walk us through what we're doing.
I think our goal should try to just be having fun and getting paranormal evidence as we would anywhere else.
Yes.
We can't force who comes through, but we have some scrying
Yes.
in this cool mirror. We have a seance to do with a bunch of haunted objects that belong to each of these people, Ricky, Jim, and Marilyn.
So you brought we'll call them artifacts, or personal possessions of each person that's passed away in your
Yes,
life.
I even have the ashes of my stepdad
Okay.
on site.
Well,
Yeah, and then we can try to see if we can get more intelligent communication through our experimental doodads.
and I brought every piece of gear to accommodate this.
Cool.
Ooh.
Okay.
It could get heavy. It could get heavy.
I know, but I'm prepared also. Like, I think I understand the detriment. There's no heavier weight than these forms in my hand.
That's
And, like,
the heart, yeah.
Ricky died in these waters. In these waters.
Mhm.
Jim took me out swimming all the time in these ones. So I feel like with the objects, with the waters, with all the historical stuff that we know, they might come through, but we also might get a manifestation of the curse. If there is one.
So before the passing of Jim and Rick, there was Marilyn, which is Rick's mother. She was brutally assaulted and murdered in her own home in 1972, where Rick unfortunately had to witness the entire thing. Between being in and out of family homes, homelessness, and facing abuse, he found himself in the Idaho State Penitentiary for theft and drug charges. He was placed in maximum security in Idaho, the same prison where his mother's perpetrator was also placed. Talk about a curse. And then it was only 2 years later when Rick was drunk driving and he unfortunately fell to his own death at Fernon Lake in Idaho.
There's a kind of haunting no one writes about, the one you inherit. You carry it in silence, like an heirloom nobody wants to throw away.
Uncle Dave says, honey, Rick died. There was an accident. And I said, at Lake Fernan? And Uncle Dave was kind of quiet. I go, I saw it on the news. And I hit the floor. I fell. I almost got fired from my job because of the way I reacted. Because I was so taken back by it. Like, I could not even believe that, number one, I saw it. Number two, I knew it was Rick. And and then the initial shock is, oh my gosh, he's gone. He's gone, and that was devastating.
Yeah.
That was devastating.
What do you remember about his life? About who he was?
He was fun. He was wild. He wasn't afraid of anything. The one thing he was afraid of was water, ironically. He wouldn't swim without something to float on. Not even in a swimming pool. And he died in water. He was fun. He was charismatic. He lacked all complete common sense. But he was so intelligent and so smart in so many other ways. And he had a creative spark about him. He loved to write. And, but because he didn't have a good education, he couldn't spell. He couldn't really form sentences and stuff very correctly. You had to kind of really read to get what he was saying. You had to kind of decipher his language. And he lit up the room, but he was very broken at the same time. He lived a very hard life. He had been sexually assaulted by his aunt's husband.
Yeah.
He had been incarcerated a good portion of his life. The majority of his life he was incarcerated. And if he wasn't incarcerated, he was out on the streets trying to fend for himself.
So back in 2023, Lou went to Fernon Lake, where they were gathering some lake water samples to try to get in touch with the spirits in and around the area. It was a nice day, slight breeze, your perfect lake day. Lou decided to take out the spirit box and had the word lichen come through on it. What could that mean?
Yeah, like old, decidedly old. I'd like to engage with this old spirit. Is something ancient, something old here that would like to talk to us?
So, lichens are very popular and common in the Pacific Northwest. They are a form of algae and fungus, and they grow on trees here. They look like a witch's hair, and they're kind of neat. However, there's another form of lichens. Lichens are considered werewolves, like in the movies, the Underworld series. Now, you can see a werewolf here, you can see one here, and you can see what a lichen actually looks like. Are there werewolves in and around the area we are at? We don't know. Does Lou think there is? 100%.
Hoa, 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 hoa.
Twilight? Actually?
Deadpan, serious actually. Werewolves.
Okay, so you're Team Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But when we're looking at it in actuality, in the paranormal, what's going on with that? Is it cursed? Is it just a paranormal symptom, basically? What do you even classify a werewolf as?
When I think of the history of werewolves, like lycanthropy, I always think about stories about men turning into these wolves and like eating a bunch of people in their village, turning on the full moon, but being forced to do like horrible things. And that actually, fun fact, used to be a mental health diagnosis as well. You were a lycanthrope if you believed you were a werewolf.
So, almost a person that becomes under possession.
By a beast. Yeah.
That it turns into.
Yeah.
On a full moon.
Yeah. Cursed to do so every full moon. Till they... You know?
Silver bullets.
Silver bullets. That'll do them.
Yeah.
Jumping into about 10 years ago when Jim died, Jim was my stepdad. What was that like for you in terms of how it changed your life? Because he was very much a part of our lives, but he was the second death of a father figure in the family. So what was that like for you comparatively, knowing you had already lost someone and there was another loss that came very unexpectedly?
It's so ironically that you asked me this question, because yesterday morning I was really focused on answering this question.
Yeah.
In comparison, what it was like to lose Jim, Daddy, as I call him, as opposed to losing Rick. And now that I'm 10 years, almost 11 years out from losing Daddy, my heart shattered.
Yeah. A lot of people's did.
And watching you and Taylor break, and the three of us break together and apart. He loved us three so much, and we were so blessed to have him. In comparison to losing Rick, I was broken. But I look back at it now, and the difference was I wasn't broken for me. I was broken for you, and I was broken for him, because I knew what his fears were. And the fact that his life ended in his worst fear, and I don't believe he should have ever, he didn't deserve that. He did not deserve that.
Yeah.
And I was broken for you, because you were never going to get a chance to know that he wasn't a bad person and that he truly loved you, and you were never going to get to feel his love. And I was broken for you. And that's the difference. But losing Jim, I broke, and I tell people all the time that I died the night that he died. I'm not that same person, and I never will be.
All right, I have Jim's Frank Zappa poster for the altar. I have some yummy food for the ancestors. Here's the lake water. I'll put that there. That there. This is Marilyn's Avon perfume. This is a baby booty that was given to Rick by Marilyn, I think. Candle to call in the ancestors. A motorcycle that was Rick's when he was a baby. I actually have Jim's ashes here with a pendant Rick gave my mom. Some quartz crystals and more candles for the magic of it all. Clarity, amplification of spiritual events. And last but not least, we have photos of the ancestors to put up. Let's see.
Now, what happened with you guys outside? You guys came in here pretty quick.
So we stepped outside just to take a little smoke break. And like literally as soon as we walked out there, Shiann and I both heard sounds coming from the woods behind the property.
On the same side, which was the right side.
What kind of sounds?
It sounded like sticks breaking, like someone was walking directly towards us.
Just taking a little break here. But thought I'd run this just to see. We're hearing some sounds over here in the woods. Is there anybody out here? Who just put an altar out on the table?
Explain the lights.
Explain the lights. We haven't done that yet. Oh my god, are the lights in the sky, dude. My eyes are watering already. Are you talking about the lights we've seen out here last year?
Yeah, I feel like that's what came to mind for me.
July
At
28th,
least
2024. Dude. Hello?
dude, how do you feel right now?
I feel fucking gross.
I feel like
We're being watched.
Or an animal or something larger. So I was like, holy shit, and she started recording. So I pulled out, I just put on the Spirit Talker app because that's all I had on, I just had my phone on.
No way.
And literally, as soon as I hit play, it said, explain the lights.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Oh my god.
The sounds we could hear,
Holy shit.
you could still hear sounds. And then it said virgin.
Yeah.
Virgin, okay.
Yeah.
Then it said Mary. And then and then Shiann had asked, like, what's going to happen tonight? And they said, wait and see.
I just got
Spooky.
chills.
That's freaky.
Screenshot
Groundbreaking evidence.
everything. She got on film. She's
You
filmed
wanted
it.
us
Got it
here.
on film.
Oh my god. Is it too vulnerable?
No.
Is it about that room?
No.
Okay, then never mind. What is it?
Didn't Jim leave after
Oh,
he found
fuck, yes.
That's why we were
That's why I was like, wait.
Explain.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
somebody else's story for a
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
time.
And you get, everybody has a choice every day, and you have that choice to make that decision on anything you do, from what you eat or what you drive or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And if it's a poor decision, then you have to be willing to suffer the consequences of those decisions,
Which
right?
I think is a huge lesson we learned from Rick and Jim too. Mm-hmm. Because you get what you pay for a little bit in terms of not being able to break your cycles. Mm-hmm. Because you ultimately do know you have a family that needs you to come home. Mm-hmm. And based on what we know,
Dad left here angry.
yeah,
He was pissed. He left here mad. He didn't have to leave here like that.
he did not. He had a choice and he made
Sat
one.
there right on that porch. He was pissed.
Yeah.
So right now we're about to start scrying, and I'm going to be using this obsidian mirror to gaze into and see if I can get any visuals. Okay, right out the gates I see a white door that's open. I've seen the number 7. You know, like, if someone's hand is on, like, a condensation of a window, like it leaves, like, a handprint? That's kind of what it looks like. But it looks like a little kid's handprint, or like a, maybe baby? I don't know. It looks smaller. It's interesting. I'm seeing an owl. Which an owl typically symbolizes either a death, or is like a messenger. He comes on very strongly. This owl will not go away. Whew. It looks like, this is so bizarre. It looks like someone is walking underwater. Like, if the surface is here, their legs are underneath the water, like they're walking on under the water. I don't understand what that's about. It does look like a male, and he has jeans on. But I can't really see anything else. It's more like a torso and legs. This is not like how reality works. Like, the way this is reading and like how I'm seeing it is not this wouldn't be possible, I guess. I hope this even makes sense. I don't even know if this does. I don't know if this person was, like, stuck or, I don't know. I don't know who it is.
But it's a story, like legend of the family, that when Rick died, he was totally present during his death, meaning that he was drunk driving, swerved off the road, landed in Fernan Lake. The car was trapped between two boulders, and he was stuck in the car. But there was evidence in the car that he had tried to claw his way out from underneath.
Okay.
And I remember when I was little, I would have these dreams about it, like constantly, and exactly what you're describing. I have some questions. Or you guys have some questions you wanted to ask? I think we should ask about the vision.
Okay.
And
That just sparked when you said that.
Again.
That was the second time. The other time was off camera.
Yeah. Okay. I think we should just get started.
Okay. Yeah. I'm Shiann.
I'm Shala.
Ah, what the fuck was that?
What do you mean? That candle just went off.
I don't know. There was something by my ear. Sorry.
And I'm Lou. Hello.
Oh. Okay. It's gonna be active. I can tell tonight.
I'm like
I'm serious.
wigged
You gonna
already.
introduce yourself, Shayla?
She did.
did.
Oh, you did?
That's when they poked you.
Yeah.
What the hell? Okay. We are here to just talk to you, ask some questions, and maybe get some answers here.
Yeah.
And we especially encourage Jim, Rick, and Marilyn to come through and say hi, and also talk to us. Yeah.
We also have a couple devices that are motion detected throughout the house, so if anything alarms or anything, we'll kind of know.
Oh.
Okay.
Are there more than 3 of you with us? Can you turn that candle on if that's a yes? Or keep it off for a no?
Are there exactly 3 of you here?
Is there 2? What was that? That was a table.
Yeah.
I just heard a noise too.
That was
I thought it was
under.
outside.
No, that was.
Oh,
I felt
that was
the
inside.
I felt it
vibration.
downstairs. Like I thought it was like down outstairs by the cars.
Oof. Okay, can you light this candle up if there's just one of you here?
Can you touch this tripwire if you were the one that gave Shayla the vision?
These items won't hurt you, they'll just let us know that you're here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. These are your items. Do you recognize them? Do you see items that are familiar to you?
Can you make a noise? Or make one of these motion detectors go off? So we can hear where you're at?
Oh, that turned off.
Are you sitting next to Shiann here at the table?
You can come take a seat next to me.
We're just a group of friends hanging out. Calling you in if you want to talk. Go ahead and take a seat next to us. And feel free to play with any of our equipment. We'd especially love it if you responded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Marilyn that we're talking to right now?
If so, can you turn that light off if this is Marilyn?
Hi. I don't even know what to say to my own grandmother.
Do you know Lou?
Do you recognize me? Do you know who I am? How I'm related to you? Thank you.
Alright, so I'm sitting here with Lou. They're about to go into an Estes method. So they're just going to be repeating everything that they're hearing through the spirit box while I ask questions. I'll give them a minute.
We're coming through tonight.
Who's here with us?
We can hear you.
Who?
There's several of us.
Okay, can I have one of you step forward to give some clear answers?
We are the Eternal Fathers.
Can you give us a sign?
I don't want to tell you, but there's Lou.
What do you want Lou to understand?
We have to get the gift to you.
Can you give Lou an audio or a visual of who you are or who we're talking to?
There's a lot going on. We're reaching pretty far. I have 10 toes down on the hill, and I can see
Can we get confirmation on who this is?
there's dads here. There's dads here, and we're trying, but there's a lot of mental noise. There's a lot of mental noise.
Okay, can we try to quiet that mental noise down? We're here to find out if Lou's family is cursed.
We're hearing you, but really, what's the question? Because there's so much going on, and we what's is there noise?
Why did all of these tragic deaths happen?
This is a game of he said, she said, but the truth comes down 10 toes down. We're here. We know.
Were these tragic deaths, were they fate?
What's weird is that they'll see the truth, and we'll take her to places like memorable, but it's what you leave out and hold dear.
If there is a curse, is there a way to break it?
If you look in the mirror, you know it's like so obvious that the question lights up in people. So they'll see it. You'll see it.
Is there any missing information that we should be aware of?
It's like watching. There's something watching. They're keeping an eye on you.
Who?
Bird's eye view.
Who?
The guardians.
Of what?
Ugh. Ugh. The thing is it's always the daddy issues. So how it works for someone to go under shufflemancy, just pick a playlist. It randomly shuffles the music, and if a person kind of gets into that trance state, sometimes, like the Estes method, psychic messages will come through the music, and there's a couple ways to monitor it. There's the physical stuff in the room. There's the music playing itself, which is like, what if there's like a blip in the song or something? There's messages within the lyrics or within the music composition itself. Or again, like the Estes method, something more psychical that she feels compelled to say. So there's so many ways that these things can come through. And it just takes a level of understanding what that message comes through to be. But at the end of the day, what we want is the thing to present itself. And that's what these devices kind of confirm. So. All right.
It's not a camera.
You have something to say? Okay, I'll try to ask my question. Shiann's sitting here. My question really is after that Estes method, yeah, what was the Eternal Father's part about? I want to know what that was about.
Okay, we're entering.
You're entering where? Where are you going, Shiann? What do you see? What was the Eternal Father's?
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of insect people. And a cross between a dragonfly and a butterfly.
Butterflies, transformation. Dragonflies. I don't know. I know dragonfly is really significant to me. Me and Mom were out.
Okay, there's this person that definitely looks like they don't belong in the crowd.
Who is that person? Do you represent the curse? Or are you one of my ancestors?
And they are wearing a hood. And they're very scraggly.
Who are you?
And they got very big round eyes.
What are you using those eyes to peep at? Can you tell me about Eternal Father?
The feeling of constant annoyance. And not being able to see the truth, the full truth.
The truth is a tricky situation. You can never see the full truth.
And then I'm receiving this information, and it says, basically you have to take a look at the overhead to understand the full situation.
We're going to take a look back at all those shots. I think we know what to get at, but
it just got really, really dark. That's so funny. So I felt my ancestors in the room, and then YG just came on, so business is about to be done.
we're getting into the business or we're finishing business? Ancestors, we want to know. What have you got to say at the end?
Yeah, we're missing pieces of what information we're looking for. I'm seeing like a piece of paper, and there's these large cylinder blocks coming through. Like, so there's large pieces of this paper missing. Okay, it just switched. I'm talking to someone else.
Holes in the paper reminds me of holes in a story.
And almost like a cowboy looking person. Very rugged man.
On a side note, when she said she was talking to someone else, the camera went blurry at the exact same time.
Weird.
There's something missing in the knowledge.
Why? Why is something missing in the knowledge? Why did we miss what we missed? Or why did you miss what you missed?
I feel like I just saw like one person dragging another person through the mud.
I see that.
There's still things that we have to learn.
30, flirty, and thriving.
Okay, it keeps showing me books and looking through books and looking through books. But I'm specifically seeing Lou looking through books. But not necessarily finding what they're looking for.
Seeker over here. We'll never, probably.
Okay, I just saw a visual of a gold little, almost like emblem. And
Is it the puzzle piece?
it's in the middle of a book. Like someone cut it out and placed it in there. They cut the book out and placed the little emblem in there.
Well, in the Estes method, you talked about a gift. Do you know anything about that?
But I can definitely tell that the energy is shifting and it's almost a little bit more sad or like serious.
If we are speaking to Rick,
I feel like we're talking to Marilyn.
if we're speaking to Rick, James, or Marilyn.
Because they're showing me a lot of women's jewelry. And I was just shown like a pearl pendant.
If you could speak now on what's happened after learning so much in a short weekend, what would you have to say about everything that did go down?
You guys, I'm really not feeling like this is not like a feeling of being cursed at all. It's almost like it was in the timeline already pre-written. And that's just what, like, your soul and your ancestors had to go through. There was no, there was no choice.
I never felt like there was. But there is a choice in who we get to be every day. Do you agree? Even if it's sad, even if it's hard, even if it's traumatic through and through, we get to decide who we get to be.
I'm seeing like I want to say a beetle of some sort. I think it's a beetle.
You told me to tell you if I had any weird dreams.
Yeah, since recently?
Last night you told me
Yes,
yesterday.
let's go. This is the juicy stuff.
I had drifted off. I was really tired last night and I had drifted off and I had a dream of a door shutting. Boom, that was it. And the doorknob was gold and it was perfectly round and the door just shut. That was it.
Answers. It's crazy, but it's like we got the answers, like very plainly clear.
Okay. What answers did you, or what questions did you ask?
It was more of a conversation than anything. Like, I was trying to, I wasn't trying to talk to anybody in particular,
Yeah.
but at a certain point, it's like, the thing about truth, which is that, you can constantly be seeking the truth. You might never find it. I feel like that's occultist battle. Like, we know that. Like, you can never get to the philosopher's stone. But what is the philosopher's stone? You know what I mean?
Right.
And more to the point, you alchemize the situation the best you can. Like, extreme hurt. I feel like it's like, the joke is the werewolf. But the real tea is the horrible shit that happens. But that doesn't mean you can't get help from your ancestors at the end of the day. We proved that. We didn't have to try hard with that. What we would have had to try harder for was getting a werewolf shot.
Right.
But also, I'm thinking about what happened when we got here.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
That's weighed heavy, I feel like, on everybody. You know what I mean?
So when we first pulled up, one of the neighbors came over and greeted us. He was packing. Probably concealed. Fine, whatever. But not only, he threatened our group in a way to say, hey, you don't belong here. I belong here. This is my home. I've lived in this neighborhood for 30 years. You have not. You bought this lake property after the area became gentrified for its lake value property. And the fact that he did that made him seem like the villain. How did you guys feel when he pulled up and did that?
I mean, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Me either.
I mean, clearly you've rented this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we can be here.
Right.
And I appreciate the hell out of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? For, like, you, like, bridge that gap. You know?
Yeah, that's weird.
It was
Defending
Almost like
what?
he wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
And weird.
Well, the guy walked all the way over here to knock on the door literally as soon as we pulled up. We just walked in the house.
Right. Yeah.
Truck pulled up, you guys came in, then he did.
Yep.
And he was like, what are you doing here? We've never seen you around here.
I think it's like a larger point about how we are queer and indigenous people taking up space. You don't get to threaten us within an inch of our lives. Nobody deserves that. So if you want to know what a curse is, look in the fucking mirror. I think after watching the footage back and realizing that one of the most important parts of the story became something different, but also on par for the details that I know about the men that raised me and the men that I grew up in the community I grew up in. The scariest part about this documentary is about the guy who approached the cabin. It's a very typical cabin in the woods story. He was threatening because we had rented the cabin. He didn't know who we were. He was checking in on the neighborhood. There is nowhere to go when someone corners you like that. And we were staying the night at the cabin. I like freaked out all night because we had all that equipment in the cabin. Over the course of the day, or over the course of the weekend, we decided to not leave the cabin unattended. So there was a person out of one of the 6 of us stayed at the cabin to make sure that our camera equipment was safe, and I didn't feel safe. A lot of people don't believe in curses. A lot of people didn't believe that an adult anglerfish would wander beyond the depths of the ocean to be seen in broad daylight either. Scientists can't be sure of any one reason why this kind of fish would do such a thing, but when the fish appeared in January of 2024 and her story became publicized, folks found meaning in her ascent. Paranormal investigators explore the relationship between unexplainable events and what has occurred around those events. The meaning that is made of a case is often up to interpretation. The world of the paranormal is situated so that how we talk about it insinuates that strange phenomenon we experience isn't exactly normal. What creates debate is how we talk about it, how we conceptualize what happens, and how to apply it to our own contexts. But what is normal, really? I wasn't looking for anything in particular through this experience. It never mattered what happened during the investigation because there is no way to know what would happen until we investigated. I wanted to show how a haunting isn't just tragic because it's paranormal, but also structural. The conditions that create loss, those are systemic. Speaking with the spirits is a way to recognize how the generations can work together to pave pathways forward without ties to the system and its violence. Our ancestors prayed for us to be the ones who change the world.